Hi team, welcome back to the day 6 for our training and a lot to do today, but let's take it gradually. So yesterday we were looking at how we can go about installing Selenium WebDriver, Java JUnit, just the basics. So your Java development kit, Eclipse IDE. Once this is set, we were able to run a simple test like this. How did we do that? We created a simple Java project like this. So I'm going to create a new project team. Today, we will be starting with a day one of a data-driven framework. And we're going to take a sample application and talk about how we can build a data-driven framework around it. What is DDF? Advantages, disadvantages, um, industries or projects suitable, how to build a DDF from ground level. Okay, we're going to learn a lot about this. Now, team, it is not necessary for you to be confused about anything until I tell you that this is a little area where you have to be more focused. While we are doing this as part of the project, we will learn core Java. So if you have not worked on Java earlier, have no experience, not an issue. We will cover all the basics of core Java that are needed to build these frameworks effectively. We will also learn a lot about element identification using Xpath. How do we do for advanced elements or when you have tables and so on to represent. Um, you will get exposed to Selenium WebDriver concepts or commands. What are the different commands that we can work with Selenium WebDriver? And we will also do JUnit and TestNG. What are these two Java frameworks? Why were they built and how these are there? So it will be going in a mixture of them, team. So, but as we progress, you learn little Java, little XPath, little Selenium WebDriver, little JUnit. But towards day one of 5, I would say, of a data-driven framework. So for this, we need to definitely take a sample AUT, application under test. I've been kind of going through a lot, and two applications that struck me was one is crickinfo.com or espncrickinfo.com, where we could automate in such a way that we could get the latest scores of the matches that are currently happening and also be able to click through and get details of what happened in the score. So maybe live or scorecard. So there's a lot of choices that we have there. The reason I select applications team or my basic idea is the application should be something that you and I we can easily understand, but should also have enough complexity that gives us some to do things. The other is around YouTube team, and applications like YouTube or video based applications really work a lot of things. So how can we automate such an application? For example, if you go to the home or trending or what's happening across, there's so much that can be done in terms of what is the one that's going on. All this, and the end of it, if we are able to automate, then testing is easy. So in the process of what we're doing, okay, so we are in manual testing earlier, and now we are kind of migrating to automation testing. And oopsie, where did that come from? So that whole what we were talking about, the entire creating of our learning curve in these 4 areas, we will be getting exposed to it in a gradual manner. So that's how we go from manual testing to automation testing. Okay, now when we talk about automation testing team, there are two major components. Okay, there is automation and then there is a testing of it. Okay, 90% of our effort will go towards automating in the sense to teach Selenium WebDriver to learn what we're doing and execute on it. Only 10% towards the end is to be able to effort in terms of testing. So once we know the results as to what happened, what didn't happen, the results will show us everything. And that's also a lot of it is automated. So your effort is in playing around with the application, making sure we're able to write good test cases, have good sets of test data, and so on. Okay, great. So now what we're going to do, team. So these are the two applications. Is it okay if we try one of these? Maybe we'll go with YouTube, and this is how YouTube will look when we go in as in a private window. So we can try to do a little automation of what is happening here, team. Okay, I'll talk about it. What are the different test cases that we can try and run? Um, Through this we will learn a lot, and you'll see there are things that are dynamic, the search features. I'm not going to do the simple sign in and so on like we were doing earlier, just to get our hands wet into it. But we will play around a lot with videos, looking at the views and how, when it was posted, who's posted it, maybe click on it and go and do some things. Is that fine if we can take this application, write a few test cases, and then go about doing it? Everyone okay to take youtube.com for data driven framework? Then we will change the application for keyword driven framework and then into something else. Can everyone hear me okay? I saw one message saying I can't hear. All right. Will we be learning about builds, releases, pipelines? Yes, phase 3. So if you've gone through the project, um, sorry, what was that? Go to webinar registration where the course content was. That is what we will get into the next level. Okay. So team, how do we start? How do we start building a data driven framework? That's our focus. Day 6, I'll say DDF 1. Okay. What is a data driven framework? From a concept point of view or theoretically, don't worry. In 3 to 4 days, you learn a lot about it. But how do we go about building a data driven framework? So I would rather want to put my steps in here. Let's move to an Excel sheet where we can have things a little bit more organized. JPACT 10, new, Google Sheet. So I'll say this is DDF, YouTube, automation plan. So actually, automation plan could be one of my tabs. So I'll just say DDF YouTube. So the first sheet out here, I'm just going to rename and I'll say this is my automation plan. How do I want to go about? So there would be steps when you approach any automation team, and you describe that step, what it is, and you put a simple status. At the minimum, this is what you would put for any tasks that you want to maintain. So to complete an entire framework, you need to be able to divide them into subtasks. That is when it becomes easier for us. Where is my font? Okay, there it is. 12, maybe 14. Okay, let's make it blue. There was a question somewhere. No, we have not got to a scenario yet. Okay, just automation plan. And this is specifically DDF automation plan. So I'll say DDF automation plan underscore automation plan. Even easier to read. So what are my different steps, team, to be able to execute this effectively? First is to understand the AUT, application under test, at a high level, get a basic idea of it. Then identify test scenarios slash test case, or sometimes interchangeably also use cases. Okay, what is it that we would like to do? 3, write manual, detailed manual test steps. Oopsie. And 4, we will then create a set of test data. 5, start coding. Now, when we start coding, how do we approach? I'll talk about in the next step. But primarily, let's do this once very quickly, team. It'll take us, it shouldn't take us too long. Okay, so now what is the application at a high level? We all know youtube.com. That's what we're going to be working on. And where is the other one? I opened one in a private window. Okay, there you go. And we try and automate a few things. So we basically know the application. I hope there's no introduction needed. Video-based platform. You can use it to host your videos for free. And you could also have revenue share model where advertisers pay money to YouTube and YouTube will share that with you. So primarily a video content sharing platform. Um, so now for us, we have to identify few scenarios, team. Let us take scenarios that we can talk about. Now these scenarios, let's put it into a new sheet and I will call this as my test cases. All my test cases, if I have something, I'll put it here. How does a typical test case looks like? I have a test case ID, a test case description as to what it does. Every test case has to be broken down into step ID and step description. Now, typically what we have to identify is there is an expected result or unexpected result, right? This is how we write any, not unexpected, actual result. And I have a pass or fail. So result, what is the result? If they're same, then it's a pass or a fail. Pretty much standard, everyone. Yes, we'll talk about test data and a few other things as we go into it. So now this becomes my very critical information on um, how I can write a test case. Let us talk about writing this test case in a very nice manner, team. Let's look at the application, write a couple of test cases. I won't do a test case. Let's do a test case for search. And then let's do also a test case for from home looking at the trending videos. Fair enough. So I'm not having a separate sheet for test steps right now, just the basic one I'll put it. So I'll say YT, right? YouTube YT underscore TC001. And I'll say this is search, basic search. And then I'll have one more test case YT underscore TC002 underscore trending videos. These are my two test case. Unique identification Y001, 002, so that I can sort it nicely. We are not overcomplicating it, team, by saying that YouTube is very large in that there are so many modules. Why only search and trending videos are we focused on? For our scope of a project, that is what we want to do. Okay. Any questions so far, please? And team, please note, it is just not about acquiring knowledge. It is also about how we are trying to get our foundation clear and how very organized way we can go forward. That is when you, once you learn something, you'll be able to remember. Okay. Now let's try and write some steps towards it. For basic search, I know there'll be at least 5-6 steps. So I'll just put trending videos here, basic search here. We will add more steps if we need. So test case description, I don't need to keep repeating it. This is almost very much easy for us to know, right? So I'll just leave it there. I'll say one. Let's say this now. One. This equals this plus one. Okay. So two tests. I don't know yet how many we have. So I'll just put a empty row for now, team. I hate to see empty rows in an Excel sheet, but that is okay because we will delete it. What is the first test step, team? Let's go fast on it. We will open browser. Now, which browser should we open? That is an extra information that I need to provide. And that becomes my test data, right? And I'll say this is Chrome. Now, what is it then we will do? Navigate. Go to YouTube. Of course, my test descriptions will get bigger. And so for this, I need to give a URL. So I'll say URL is https://youtube.com. Okay. And I'm breaking it down into as much minute details as we can, team. Then I want to click on the search. So for that, how do you click on something, team? You need to know the element, correct? Element identification. So I can say link text. Oops, no, I don't know. How do we identify this element? Basics of XPath. Did I speak about it earlier, team, in the sessions? Did we do some XPath? I don't think we really did. I'll just quickly jot it down so you all have good clarity on XPath. Okay. So XPath, what is it that we are trying to do, team? There are two things called relative and absolute. Okay. Forget about both of them for now. Let's talk about XPath in general, and then I'll explain the difference between them. Okay. Now, whenever I want to identify an object, let me do it here, or let me do it on the document itself. Sorry, I'm jumping around so that I don't lose time with what we have to do as well. Whenever we need to identify an object, team, it becomes extremely critical to provide information to Selenium of how we do it. What are the different ways I mentioned earlier? I can use ID or name or link text, or partial link text is there. Then there is class, CSS, and so on. And then there is XPath, different ways we can identify. In almost all cases, you can use XPath, even if it has an ID or a name or whatever. It can all be done using XPath. Now, how do we identify elements using XPath, team? Let's talk about it. Very important and very easy. This is the fun part of automation. Okay. First is get the HTML source of that element. How do we do that? So go to your application under test. And here we're talking about this element. So you right click on it, say inspect. It's going to take you to the code where this is there. Right click on it and copy the entire outer HTML. Okay. And paste it into wherever you want to investigate. Now, I think I mentioned a little bit earlier, but not really a lot. What kind of computer that you are using? You like it or it's bad? I don't know why you asked that question. Uh, I use i7. It's a bus. How do I say where is it? Um, C drive, right? C drive properties. Now this PC properties. It's a 16 GB i7 and 3.6 gigahertz. So pretty fast, team. It's a good desktop that I have. All right, great. But 8 GB is also fine. 4 GB slows down your automation test as you keep doing. Now, okay. So think of it like a complete collection of an object class and properties. Okay, so there's so many. I'm just quickly trying to tab them all one into each line. All right. I'll keep the explanation a little fast, team. Let us say that we need to talk about identifying a car, right? So we can say it's make, color, model, or VIN number, license plate number. Now, if a cop pulls us over, then what do we show? We have to show the license ID, registration, and so on to make sure it is. But if I have to give my keys to my friend and say, okay, go get something from it. I just have to say the color and make, and that's more than enough. They have the remote. So depending on the situation or where the objects are present, Selenium or any of these automation tools work on the application, and they use certain of these attributes. Okay, so just like as we're saying, a car has a license plate, a VIN, and so on, or a color, make, model. Same thing for every element within your HTML code. And that is the advantage that Selenium Ide takes. Now, how do you write an XPath? To write an XPath, there are three components, team. First is the HTML tag. The first word after the less than symbol is the HTML tag. Now, can you quickly tell me what is the HTML tag for what you see um, in the above element? It is input. So that is like the class of it. It defines how it will look, how it will feel, or what it can do. It is predefined for HTML. So for us, that is the very important. Second thing is the attribute name, and then the attribute value as a combination. So whatever you see on the left side of the equal to symbol are attribute names. Left of the symbol, and the other is to the right of the equal to symbol. So this gives definition to it. It tells how it should look or what it should do, or enough information for us to identify. Now, if we know these details, then how does an XPath look? An XPath will look like equals 2// HTML tag, open square brackets, at the rate, attribute name equals, in single quotes, attribute, or double quotes sometimes, attribute value. By saying this basic information, and if I have that enough, like ID is enough, for example, then this will work. Let's now try and write for this element team. How does it look? So, thumb rule, manually write XPath, then verify using Selenium IDE or Catalan recorder. Now, how does this XPath look for us in for this element now? So if I have to write for this, I will say XPath for the search field equals 2// input // input, open square brackets. And remember, team, no spaces, no using, and be very case sensitive. You should not bother about is it case sensitive or not. Whatever you have, you see, that is how you put. At the rate, I'm going to take the first attribute and try it and see if it works. ID equals single quote search and end of single quote, end of square brackets. Now this I am saying is my XPath. How do I verify that this is my XPath? Couple of options. We can open either Selenium IDE, or we could do using Catalan. So let's see which one. Oh, I can't open here. Maybe I'll just open YouTube in general. All right. So what do I do now? Catalan. That's strange that I cannot use any of these on a. Then I have to log out. That's no problem. Let me just use Selenium IDE. create a new project, record a new test, a new project. I don't want to record. I'll say create a new project. I'll just say YT1 and say okay for now. It doesn't really have anything, team. So if you're still not comfortable with how that element can get identified, let me erase these drawings. Use Selenium Ide to simply try to, let's say we want to type something. Okay, that's what the command we want to perform. And select the target in page. Oopsie, not this. How do I do? It's going to this page. I don't know. Let me close everything. This is the problem. Selenium IDE, no tab, this test case. Okay, let's reopen now with only one tab. Hello, leave app, leave, yes. Come here, create a new project. YT1, will it be there? No, it's gone. So here I'm just trying to type. It's not necessary for me, but I'm just taking this. Let's get this. It says name equals search underscore query. Now, what is it that we are trying to write? I'm saying my Xpath equals whatever we wrote, which is gone right now. Drive.google.com. So what did they say? Takes they said name equals search underscore query team, and we're using ID equals search. Where did we write it? Let's copy this and paste it here. Now, team, remember, once you paste it, sometimes the single quotes can cause formatting issue. So there's additional space also. So delete it and again re-enter the single quotes. When you space, take it from oopsie word onto the regular. So now I've changed it, and now let's see if it can find it. So I'm saying find the element, and it can. So if I say type something like blah blah and just run this, okay, search test. What you can, before you can start recording, you must specify a valid base URL. Oh, sorry. What am I reading? Start playback. Preparing to run your test. It still will. Let me add the in stop. I don't know what it was doing. Run. No. I think we still need to insert that open command. But at least it is identifying it, team. Come on. Bad. Insert new command. Let's say this is open and slash and 1 second, team. So we have this. Let's see. Okay, there you go. So it's kind of done that. Now your next step would be on this search icon itself. So how do we identify? Same process. I want to spend the next 5 minutes, team, just identifying a few elements for us. All right. Now this is the this is where it is pointing. So let's make sure again, always re-inspect that you got the right code. Copy the whole thing and get it. And team, not always will we be successful in writing a simple XPath. If it is a little complicated, I will leave it for sessions as we keep going along. But I think this should be easy. This YT icon class, SVG, blah, 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 focusable style, G class. There's a lot here. This should be enough, maybe. See, okay, let me zoom it. Sorry if it's a small font for you all. So now if I want to write an XPath for this, how would I write it? If I look up, so my XPath equals 2 /. Now what is my, is it input team? What is my HTML tag? And then at the rate class equals all of this. I don't want to type it because I might make a mistake, so I'll copy paste it and close the square brackets. I need better lights. What is the class team? You didn't tell me. HTML tag, sorry, for this element. Are you all with me? Anyone not active? YT icon. Perfect. So let's make sure that's written here. YT hyphen icon. Now see, there's a space. Avoid all of these small things, team. The only way we will master XPath is by continuously doing more and more of them. All right, everyone. Great. So now let's see if this works. I don't even know. Not sure. And that's why element identification becomes very key, because it is not necessary that you can easily identify them. Now, let's see. So I will say click. That is what I'm trying to do. And here is my XPath equals single quotes. Just change them once, please. And say find. So I can see that blinking at my end, which is good. So we can run this command again. Let's see. So it kind of, okay, this is actually getting good results also. Now, all I want to do is maybe the attribute name to be selected, since there are so many with the first one always work. Good question. Yeah, I'll answer. So as of now, we are going in the order in which it is appearing and trying it out. We will explore tons of elements as we go on, and each time you'll see a new complexity. So think of that you'll master XPath in the next 10 days. It is not like one session. So the simplest ones we are trying. Then we'll try with this and this, or this and this or this. Then we'll try with, elements as child elements and so on. So there's a lot that will come along. That way YouTube will be very challenging to you. Now let's say all I want to do is get the text from here. So if I right click and inspect, this could be interesting for us. Let's see. Copy outer HTML and let's put it into Selenium IDE. And all I'm trying to do here is verify text is there, and the target is, this is the one. So see, to make things easy, whenever we are in confusion, always take it into new lines. Now you'll understand a little bit more about XPath and how it can assist. Team, I want to take this code and then put it into Selenium WebDriver after this, okay? So see, now for example, ID is video title. Let us skip this, and maybe even class, I will skip it. If I take title as this, will it work for all search terms that I'll use? Will it work? Or if I say href equals this, will it work for, instead of blah, 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 if I type something else, will that work, team? No, it will not. Why? Because I typed blah, 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 it gave me this result. If I type something else, then it will give me some other results totally, right? So if I then look at this and say, okay, I will use Armin van Buren because every time that will come, that cannot be correct if my input keeps changing. Okay, so then what I want is the first video that is coming there. Maybe these fields are enough. So I'll just copy video title from here, go quickly to Selenium IDE, and verify text here. So I'm saying Xpath equals / the HTML tag is A for anchor text team, the hyperlinks that we get. And now open square brackets, @ what was it that we saw? ID is video hyphen title. Single quotes. See, I forgot single quotes hyphen title. You all have to keep practicing a lot on this team, how we identify various elements. All right. If this works, it should be able to show it to us in the app. Did it? Does it at least give a log that it's working or not? Actually, I wrote this wrong square bracket. Now let's try again. I don't know. What is the text that would be there? Now let's see. The text is here. Now I'm seeing that if the text is coming, so the text is here. There are a lot of spaces, but I'll just truncate and try and see if it comes up. So now we can run this whole thing again and see what happens. And it's running pretty fast. Trying to find Xpath at a video title. So I want to take at least this 4 steps team and show you how quickly we can write it into Selenium WebDriver now. If this passes or fails, I'm not worried about it right now, but I want to put it there. But why would this fail? Did I do something incorrect? ID is video title. There could be multiple, but at least the first one should be able to get. Let's see, inspect. Yeah, that's interesting. But if I do a record and run, it may give me a solution, and that's fine. So we'll see. What if I just say stop, right? Stop. Insert new command here, and why does it do that? What is it that I wanted to do? Just here, click, I'll say maybe, and select target in page. Okay, link text equals so and so. It got link text. Now that will not work. But then, like I was saying, Selenium Ide will give us a little options team to look at other things that are there. Let me resize this a little. So what are the other ways that it can identify? So CSS is there, but there's an XPath and says text contains. No, that is not the right. See, this is the one. Oh, but it is saying number 43, is it? But where is number 1 then? I see. Okay. Relative to title wrapper. This is a good XPath too. And these are the ones which we have to keep learning, team, how to write it ourselves. Okay, it says idea, right? What else is there? See, I'm looking at ones which is not related with that video. This is related with the video. This ain't. This ain't. So let's take this and see. So it is the same thing. It is just basically saying, okay, primarily XPath team, just a brief explanation. Even this, if I inspect, it'll say ID is video title. And even this, it'll say ID is video title. So which number should I do? The first one will be 1. From there, it will be second, third, fourth, and so on. So it is basically saying that this is the 43rd such element. Now, where are the first 42nd? I don't know. Maybe it is hidden below of how the video display is. but that is what it is mentioning out for us here. So 43rd is what I'm saying, and Control C, Control V, and let's just how do I pause this? Or what's that? Skip. I'll say click. Oh, for click, why do I need this? I don't need this. Okay. This will become verify text first, and then we'll click on it. Okay, let's try this run. Everyone with me? I can make with text, but text will change, correct? It's still not identifying. Let's figure this one out. And that is where I'm sure we will master a lot on this. See, if I give text equals our main, whatever, Van Buren, if I change that search, then it will fail. Do you understand, everyone? So that's like hard coding it, that always for any search, it'll come there. So it actually did click on it. No, no. But how did it come then? How did it play? I didn't click on it. Oh, verified text didn't happen. What is it then? In verified text, what happened? Let's see. Actual, I'm decent with Yorkers. Malinga is the best. What? So there's a different text that came up. I don't know why, but at least we got the base model team. Now this code is in Selenium Ide. All of you understand, right? So we just wrote this in Ide. Let's take it into Selenium WebDriver. So how do we take it from Selenium Ide to WebDriver? Earlier, there was a decent way to export the tests into Java, JUnit, TestNG, and so on through it. Selenium has kind of discontinued that option. You don't have an option anymore to export it. But let's keep this on the side. At least you know the steps. These are the same steps that we will also kind of put into our Excel sheet here. Okay, but let's now get to Eclipse. So in the Eclipse team, what I'm going to do is I have high team, right? So let it be there. I'm going to create a new one, and I'll say this is a new Java class, and I'm going to give it as DDF1. Yes, I'll put my main method into it and say finish. Now here is where I want you to take a base code and let's try and work from there. Okay, so base code of any Selenium WebDriver. So this is like DDF1 from a previous project that I was doing. Will look something like this thing. Let me get these values and put it up here. So what is it that we learned yesterday? That I could do a simple print statement that will print something out here, correct? That was system.out.println. And that is one of the first Java statements that a lot of us will get exposed to. So let's take that and say, I'll say this is my start of my test. And I'm going to put another one at the end. I'll say this is my end of my test. All right. Now, what is it that we're trying to do in between here? Let me explain. Do not complicate or feel threatened by it. Okay. You have an application. Now, that application could be open using any browser. So for each browser, we have a web driver, and that web driver helps us to connect to that browser and pass commands. So there are two things that we basically need. One is Selenium WebDriver or the Selenium server jar that we've downloaded. Another is Chrome driver team. All of this yesterday we downloaded, correct? Now, our task is to associate them with our project. And then these things will become identifiable. Now, in this case, what is happening is I have to also define something called as my driver, but let's do it after I import. Let me actually get that code also. WebDriver, my driver. Oopsie. Okay, so it does not understand. So what is the first step, team? The first step is to tell where my Chrome driver is located. Okay, yesterday we did a download. Where was it? Let's see if I can find it. Selenium server I have and Chrome driver, correct? I'm going to cut both of this and take it into a training folder. So trainings, JPACT 10. This is where we were doing Selenium September 2019. Okay, and I'll put it here. Or maybe even better, I'll create a new folder, call it as drivers, and put them here, team. Okay. So my Chrome driver, I'm going to unzip, get the latest one, put it here. Now I don't need to do anything else. I need to now provide the path to this. So I can go to properties, security, and just copy this entire thing and take it back to my Eclipse. Okay. And say this is where my Chrome driver is. Now, why is this essential, team? You need to use 2 backslashes for paths. So, or 1 forward slash is fine. This is the property name. This command basically does nothing but sets a property in your system where it says if a Chrome driver is needed, then find it here. Okay. There is nothing more complex about this statement. So my Chrome driver will get identified through that team. But the biggest problem is it does not know even Selenium. Chrome driver and all this is under Selenium. So your Selenium WebDriver, again a small drawing please. Your Selenium WebDriver is the core one. And then you have the peripheral ones like Chrome driver, you have your Firefox drivers, Opera, Gecko driver for Firefox, and so on, team. So that becomes very critical. Now, where was I? For the Chrome driver, we could set it using saying that it is the path here. But now how about the Selenium WebDriver? All I do there is right click on my project, go to your Java, sorry, once again, right click on your project, go to properties, scroll down, go to the third option called your Java build path. And in here, go to libraries team. Everyone with me? And you can watch this video and repeat it, please. And once you go to, so Java build path, how did we get here? Very simple, right click, properties, Java build path, libraries, and click on add external jars. And out here, so now these are the common jar driver file that I maintain. Let's go to our project one itself. Sorry, training. And here is the one that we are taking. So I'm just selecting it, say open, and now that gets associated team. So actually, I shouldn't have done it. Let me take it out once. So apply, okay. Your Eclipse IDE, unlike a simple looking at your code in a text file and so on, has multiple advantages. I was speaking, right? Like it has a color, which we have to still know what does each color mean. It also has line numbers. I can execute, run, save, do a lot of things. One of the great features that Eclipse gives you is a suggestion to what is wrong. Remember, I was saying we are a human, and for us to interact with the machine, we will need to learn that binary code zeros and ones, and Java is an interpreter in between. So if anything in a syntax is like the communication we write or do incorrect, it does not knock onto its door. It fails. And that is shown by this red lines or red marks. So when you see an error, Eclipse has this advantage. If you take your mouse over it, it will give you suggestions. hey, do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? Right now, what it is showing you is just saying create class WebDriver, create interface, because it does not know what a WebDriver is, because it is still out here in the Selenium WebDriver. It does not know there is WebDriver there. Sorry, Selenium. It just has the Chrome. It does not know Selenium WebDriver yet. So for us to do this, right click, properties, Java build path, libraries, add external jars, and we're going to add this jar. Say okay, okay. And now when you take your mouse over it, you would notice that there is a new thing came up, which is import. Import is one of the simplest way in Java that says I will use something. Okay. Now Java has a lot of libraries team. Okay. Java is your core, and there are a bunch of libraries across the globe or contributors or what are called as jar files also. So based on what you want, you load those libraries. If you load everything that is available, Java will become very slow. It will become heavy. It is like saying I have to go for a cup of coffee right next door, but I have to take my RV all the way instead of walking for a minute. So it is not option. I mean, it doesn't make sense. You just take what you want when you want. So the import lets us say, okay, now I recognize because you imported this library, this reference library, I recognize there is a WebDriver. So that is added. So we're not even getting into the depth of WebDriver or what it is. We will talk, team. We will talk about it. We'll write a little bit more Java code around it. It'll become very easy. Then we have Chrome driver, another error that I need to fix. So how do I see? So go to Chrome driver. So as soon as I said import, you see the statement that came up here. It wasn't there earlier. Now, when I go to Chrome driver and I say this, it would do add the Chrome driver. So these are important essentials for me to kind of work with things. So if I change this to our web link, youtube.com, and execute this team, let's see what happens. Okay, now what are the three steps? Okay, 4 steps: setting the Chrome driver property, saying that my driver is actually a Chrome driver, and then I'm navigating to a URL and I'm maximizing the window. All right. Now, if you do not know these commands, not a problem, because now you would know that this is how it is. One of the most standard commands team. From here, we will start learning a lot. But what is this WebDriver? It's a class, why and how we defined it. That we will talk a little bit more depth as we go along. Now I see that my code is error free, at least the syntax. There are two types of errors team that will happen when we start working with any programs. The first is your syntax error, where you didn't write the code correctly. I can't understand. You made a spell error, or you didn't define something, you didn't import something, and so on. The next is your runtime error. Runtime error is your code looks fine from language perspective, no issues. But when you're executing it, there is an issue and it throws an error. And we have to become experts at being able to debug and fixing both of them. Okay. All right. Now let's run this code team. It's the first time we're running. Let's see how it kind of goes through. So I'll see my print statements coming. So it says starting Chrome driver, great that it opened up. It is navigated to it and it will be able to maximize it right now. And that's all that we did. Now, the key most important thing for you to understand is this specific word called my driver is the one that is linking to this Chrome driver team. Okay. How did that happen? When I said WebDriver, my driver, I gave it a class. Okay. So any WebDriver, first all are WebDrivers under that class. In that, we have a specific subclass called Chrome driver. In that, we defined it here after we set the property. Once I did it, on my driver, I can do a bunch of things. Like what team? Sorry, quickly. Um, my driver dot. As soon as I say my driver dot, you will notice a lot of things that we could run with it. Oops, that's First time error thing. My driver dot. Let's try again. And see here the different commands that I can do. And the first command that I see is close. So what do you think close does? Just click on it. You typically have even a health coming. Sorry, not health. A help. Yeah, there you go. See on the side, it should come up as to what it does. These are the Selenium WebDriver commands team that we can perform. So what we used to see in Selenium IDE, all of that we are moving it in here. And how are we doing it? We are breaking it down into 2-3 portions. Basically, we are saying, where do you want me to do it? That is on the driver. And what do you want me to do? That is the action or what we perform. So if I want to, let us say, put something into the search field, I'll say my driver dot find an element. I'll write this one quickly, team, for right now. And I'll then have to mention by using what methodology. In this, I'll say Xpath. I'm going super fast just to finish it. But in the next session, we will expand this a lot. Now, I already remember the Xpath that we wrote here, and this is the one, correct? So I'll take, no, here. And I don't need XPath equals. Copy this and bring it here and put it into double quotes, team. Remember earlier I was saying use single quotes for XPath. So since you can put it inside double quotes, single quotes are advisable here always, team. Now, so now that I find an element, I could perform some activities on it. As soon as I hit another dot, it tells me what I could do. I could maybe just type into this, or sorry, send keys is the command team, and I'll say blah blah. For now, only typing I'll do, team, and I'll not close my browser yet. I'll close it later. A lot of reds there. Let me erase the drawing and save this. Sometimes errors will go away. Why do you think there is a syntax error? Because I did not close this code. In the next session, team, we will go a little bit more into core Java. We'll play around a little and we'll keep up with the pace of the Selenium WebDriver too. All right, great. So now let's quickly run this. I didn't save it, so it keeps asking me if you want to. If you check this, it'll always save the resources before launch. Sorry, team, I'm taking a few more minutes. I'm almost done. I just want to see if it types it there. So there you go, perfect. And that's how you kind of are interacting with it now from the Selenium WebDriver. And out here, our potential is kind of limitless because I can code and do a lot of things in Java. All right, any questions, please? Want to understand line 14 again if time permits? Sure. So what is happening is, did I drive it? Okay, write it. Okay. So Selenium WebDriver is there, right? So WebDriver is like a super class. It is like saying, you know what, we have a car. But within a car, there could be a sedan, there could be a SUV, there could be a coupe, there could be a sports car, minivans, and so on, right? There are different types of it. So what did I write? SC for superclass. Now under this, a Chrome browser acquires all the properties of how to interact with any browser in typical, but is customized for Chrome. Similarly, we have a Gecko driver for Firefox, and then we would have something for Safari, for Opera, for IE, for Node. Sorry, why I'm saying Note, for IE and for Edge. Okay, so these are the different files. So if I say WebDriver, it is general WebDriver. But then if I want to run it on a specific, it is Chrome. So now tomorrow, when I want to change this and I want to run it on a different browser, I have to just change this, maybe these 2 lines only. And that's it. My driver will point to a Firefox. Okay. So for example, even now I'll tell you, if I just copy this code and write, instead of new Chrome driver, I write Firefox driver. What would happen if I write Firefox driver here, T? Will it show a red underline? Yes or no? It will, because I have to, import that Firefox driver also. So I have the basic web driver, now I have Chrome driver, now I have Firefox driver. So now if I run this test, what would happen? It should run on Firefox driver, but I have to set my gecko to it. Make sure that that is correctly set. Okay. So first we're going to work with one driver. We'll do a little bit of learning. Then doing it on other drivers is very simple. Great team. That's it from my side for today. I thought I'll do a smaller one. It was Friday, but once I got into it, the rhythm, I thought we should go. So tomorrow, more Java, more little bit JUnit, not tomorrow when I say next session, more Xpath. Expanding this, we'll start writing, creating variables. It'll look beautiful, team. You'll just enjoy working on such code. And the power of what it can pack is also immense. Thank you, Chitra. Thank you, everyone. Great. I'll all see you back next session. Take care. Bye all. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Okay, sorry, there's one question from somewhere. While installing Eclipse, shall I choose Eclipse IDE for Java developers? Absolutely, absolutely. Eclipse IDE for Java developers. That's all you need. Okay. Thank you. Bye.